Welcome to this explainer. Right off the bat, I just want to invite you to do something we rarely do. Just pause. Take a quiet, easy breath. You know, we spend literally so much of our lives just rushing forward, on to the next thing. But today, we're actually going to stop. We're going to examine this incredibly heavy, totally invisible burden that you carry with you every single day. We're looking closely at why we suffer and, way more importantly, how to finally lay that burden down.
So, why are you always so exhausted? I mean, before looking deeply at this, you might just assume that this deep, aching exhaustion is kind of just an inevitable part of being human, right? But here's the thing. Your human biological machine is actually this flawless, self-sustaining loop. It breathes without your permission, it filters toxins, it beats its own heart. The aching suffering you feel, it isn't a flaw in life itself. It's actually the friction of harboring this uninvited, invisible parasite that's just bleeding the system dry.
Let's look at raw data collection. Right now, literally as we speak, your eyes are absorbing bouncing photons. Your ears are catching acoustic vibrations. Your skin is registering the localized pressure of the chair you're sitting on. Your tongue is decoding chemical signals. To put that into perspective, your brain is processing around 11 million bits of sensory information every single second. But here's the catch. These sensory streams are completely separate, they're fleeting, and they are completely unowned. They're just raw, silent data moving flawlessly through your nervous system.
Okay, let's really dive into this glitch. The ghost, an uninvited phantom coordinate born from the brain synchronizing sensory chaos which falsely claims ownership over reality as me. The brain's main job is to organize all of that crazy chaotic data, right? And it glues these sensory fragments together so perfectly that it creates a massive optical illusion. Out of this incredible synchronization, an uninvited phantom coordinate is born. Basically, the biological machine accidentally invents a manager for a multi-million-dollar operation that honestly doesn't actually need one. This ghost steps forward, looks at the data, and literally says, "This is mine. This is happening to me."
Now look at raw reality versus the mirage. Raw reality is silent, uninterpreted data, complete without explanation. The mirage is labels, memorized knowledge, suffocating drama. What's really interesting here is the profound difference between what's actually happening and what the ghost invents. There's this pristine, beautiful split second of raw existence when you first open your eyes. It's silent, uninterpreted, and completely free of problems. But in less than a millisecond, bam, the ghost rushes in to make sense of the data. It instantly creates a mirage. It builds this heavy, terrifying universe of deadlines, bank accounts, and fears, simply so it can feel like it's in control of the whole shebang.
Look at this quote. "A tree does not grow to make sense, it just grows." The reality of the physical universe is totally self-contained. A tree doesn't grow to make sense, it just grows. The wind, it just moves. Reality is entirely complete, without a single explanation. It's actually the ghost's neurotic, insatiable need to constantly make sense of everything that creates the very prison holding you captive.
Section 7. The Fake Track. The Trap of the Spiritual Search. When you realize that a ghost is generating your suffering, your immediate, totally instinctual reaction is to try and fix it, naturally. You want to escape it, or maybe find some form of higher peace. But actually, scratch that. This desire to fix the problem creates the ultimate wrong turn. Here's the ego's fake track. Step 1, study philosophies. Step 2, seek spiritual masters. Step 3, chase enlightenment. You begin to search. But here's the devastating twist. The ghost is an absolute master of camouflage. When it realizes you're onto its game, it doesn't fight you. No way. It simply trades worldly desires for spiritual desires. The entity that wanted money now suddenly wants cosmic oneness. It keeps you running on a fake track, moving constantly toward a future destination that simply does not exist.
The trap cannot be solved by the problem-solving mind. So, the absolutely crucial point we need to take away from this is that the ghost is the search itself. It's the very movement of trying to make sense of information. As long as you are actively trying to figure out how to wake up, you are feeding the exact parasite you're trying to kill. The problem-solving mind literally is the trap.
The map itself is the illusion. You must stop walking. Every method, every technique, every desperate effort you make to fix yourself is really just another layer of artificial paint. To step off this fake track, you don't need a better map. You have to realize that the map itself is the illusion. You must abandon the obsession with making everything make sense. You just have to freeze and allow the entire framework of the search to completely crash.
So, what happens after enlightenment? As the search begins to crash, this question inevitably pops up. And you know what? This question is the final lifespan of the ego. It's standing at the very edge of its own demise, frantically begging for a destination, a new story, or some grand prize to look forward to. It desperately wants to know what comes next just so it can survive.
There is no stage, there is no audience, there is no main character. The reality completely shatters that question. There is no after. The relief is absolute, because the life you thought was this huge drama is really just a rolling, unowned sequence of events taking place right now. There's no stage, there's no audience, and there's absolutely no main character. You simply don't have to play the part anymore.
When you sit, sitting alone happens. What remains is the sheer, beautiful economy of existence, nothing extra. When you sit, sitting alone happens.
When you walk, walking alone happens. When you walk, walking alone happens. Each action arrives purely from the silence. It performs itself perfectly, completely unowned, without a me to claim it.
When you sleep, sleeping alone happens. When you sleep, sleeping alone happens. Every action, every sensation arises in the moment and dissolves back into nothingness without leaving a single trace or scar behind.
The show stops. The show simply stops. The exhausting search for meaning ends, not because you found the ultimate answer, but because the one who was suffering has completely vanished into the stillness. If there's no one left to claim the next moment, what exactly is there left for you to fear?